6,000 brave American sailors ride a moving city through open water, floating on 100,000 tons of American steel. The carrier beneath them is a nuclear-powered fortress that can steam for decades without refueling its reactors. But here's what most people never see: the daily battles that have nothing to do with enemy fire. Every single day, the crew must plan, prepare, and serve more than 17,000 meals from just a handful of shipboard galleys. Every night, thousands of people sleep in stacked bunks smaller than most prison cells, and every morning, they line up to share tight bathrooms and showers, because space at sea is the most precious commodity of all. Before we begin, make sure to hit the like button. It helps us beat the YouTube algorithm. This is the human story behind the headline hardware: how a carrier's population eats, sleeps, and works in the middle of the ocean. We'll walk the mess decks during the breakfast rush, climb through berthing where privacy is a curtain and a reading light, and step onto the most dangerous 4 acres in the Navy, the flight deck, where jet blasts and arresting wires leave zero room for mistakes. Along the way, you'll see how logistics, engineering, and sheer discipline keep a floating city alive far from shore. If you're proud of the grit it takes to make all of this happen, say so in the comments below, because the people who do this work have earned it. Let's start with food, the fuel for the mission. On deployment, galley doors open before midnight. Bakers scale flour, roll dough, and feed ovens that will not cool until tomorrow. By dawn, line cooks are moving in choreography: trays of eggs, pans of oats, racks of bacon, fruit by the case, coffee by the gallon. A single day can push well past 17,000 meals when the air wing is flying hard. Cold storage the size of small warehouses holds meat, dairy, and produce. Dry stores stack pasta, rice, and cereals by the pallet. Everything is secured so nothing shifts when the ship rolls. Inventory clerks, culinary specialists, and food service attendants move like a factory that happens to float. Before we continue, make sure to hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow. Those meals don't happen without a supply chain that never sleeps. Replenishment ships pull alongside at speed and distance, lines go across, and pallets begin to fly. Literally, via sliding rigs and elevators that move food from the hangar to the mess decks. Fuel, flour, fruit, and mail arrive in one relentless stream. Timing matters. Miss a weather window and you burn through reserves faster than planned. Nail the timing and morale jumps. The moment fresh produce hits the line, special menus, Taco Tuesdays, pizza nights, steak, or prime rib aren't just treats. They're deliberate morale boosters that mark time when days blend together and the horizon never changes. Does everyone eat the same? The Navy's answer honors both efficiency and rank. Most of the crew cycles through the enlisted mess, where cafeteria-style lines serve hot, calorie-dense meals fast. Chiefs, the senior enlisted leaders who knit the ship together, eat in their own mess, a recognition of responsibility earned over years. Officers dine in the wardroom, where the setting is quieter because decisions get made between bites. But the constant across every space is the same: clean food, hot food, enough food, served on time. And because the ship runs 24 hours, midnight rations, mid-rats, are there for watchstanders coming off the deck long after most cities are asleep. When the trays are empty, people need sleep, and that is where the carrier's efficiency turns personal. Berthing compartments stack 3 racks high, with a vent, a light, a small shelf, and a locker under the mattress. Dimensions are tight, about 72 inches long with only a couple of hand widths of headroom. Yet sailors make it theirs: a photo, a paperback, headphones tucked into a corner. Senior enlisted and officers get smaller rooms, but nothing on board is big. The truth is simple: comfort yields to mission. The unwritten rules keep the peace. No slamming lockers, no bright lights during quiet hours, no long conversations at the ladder well outside berthing. Hygiene is a discipline. A typical berthing shares a few showers, heads, and sinks among dozens of sailors. The Navy shower is fast. Water on, soap up, water off, rinse. Made easier because the ship makes its own fresh water by turning seawater into something purer than most tap systems ashore. Like every complex system at sea, plumbing needs constant attention. Modern vacuum waste systems are efficient, but require rigorous maintenance cycles to stay reliable. When problems crop up, engineers troubleshoot, flush, and fix with urgency. Because on a ship with thousands of people, sanitation isn't a convenience. It's combat readiness by another name. Now climb to the roof of the city, the flight deck. Colored jerseys paint the choreography: yellow directs, blue chains, green runs, catapults and arresting gear, purple fuels, red handles, ordnance. Jets launch and trap to second-by-second timing, guided by hand signals, radios, and checklists burned into muscle memory. It's loud, hot, and unforgiving. The price of a casual moment can be catastrophic. Training keeps the edge sharp. FOD walks to find a stray bolt before it becomes a missile. Briefs before every evolution, debriefs after. When the deck is humming, you're watching the most dangerous workplace in the Navy run like a ballet. Under the waterline, the heartbeat is nuclear. Twin reactors spin turbines that push the ship and power the city. Radars and networks, galleys and sculleries, machine shops and hospital spaces, and the electromagnetic catapults that throw aircraft skyward. Reactor and engineering watch teams train for years and treat every gauge like a promise to their shipmates. There is no shoulder to pull onto at sea. Reliability comes from procedures followed exactly and maintenance done on time. The same attitude runs through every shop. Electricians cleaning contacts to a shine, hull technicians welding with a surgeon's care, aviation mechanics torquing fasteners to the ounce inch. Medical is more than a sick call line. It's a small hospital that floats. Doctors, nurses, and corpsmen run clinics, x-ray, labs, dental chairs, and an operating room. Most days, it's sprains, stitches, and flu shots. Some days, it's emergencies you never forget. When weather and location allow, helicopters fly serious cases ashore. When they don't, the team handles it here because the ship doesn't stop moving when someone needs help. The goal is simple: return sailors to the fight quickly and safely, and keep the crew healthy in tight quarters where colds, stress, and fatigue are always looking for an opening. Culture keeps the gears human. Chaplains walk the decks. Gyms thump at odd hours because the clock belongs to the watch bill. The library lends calm. On a still day, a Steel Beach picnic turns a runway into a neighborhood block party. Promotions happen with shipmates gathered close. Re-enlistments take place under a sky the color of forged steel. And a cake on the mess decks can turn a hard week around. Satellite bandwidth is rationed for operations, but messages home still make it through. Photos of first steps, updates from school, a quick "love you, I'm okay." A few sentences can refill a tank that hard work drained. Everything you've seen, meals, sleep, showers, launches, surgeries, depends on the same quiet superpower: logistics. Replenishment at sea is the conveyor belt that keeps a carrier nearly independent of ports. It's choreography between two moving giants done in weather that would make most ships stay home, with safety lines, whistles, and hand signals cutting through wind and spray. Pallets move, hoses pump, checklists tick down, horns salute, and the city rolls on, ready for another day that begins in a bakery and ends with the last trap under deck lights. The faces behind the steel are young and serious. Many are on their first time away from home. They learn fast because they have to. They lean on chiefs who've seen everything twice. They serve alongside officers who carry the burden of command with quiet focus. They share space, share hardships, share jokes that only make sense at sea, and they discover that the hardest days can also be the most meaningful. That's the secret of a carrier. The machinery is extraordinary, but the people are what make it work. So the next time you see a carrier on the news, jets flaring on the deck, wake boiling in a white V, remember the unseen: the midnight baker counting loaves, the junior sailor pulling a curtain and answering a message from home, the engineer listening to a pump and hearing a bearing that needs love, the purple shirt fueling in crosswind spray, the corpsman taping a sore knee so someone can stand another watch. This is how 6,000 Americans live with purpose in the middle of the ocean. One checklist, one meal, one safe launch, one quiet act of professionalism at a time. If this look inside the floating city moved you, tap like, drop a comment for the sailors who make the impossible feel routine, and subscribe for more deep dives into life at sea. Your support helps bring more stories from the hangar bay to the reactor spaces, from the mess line to the island. Stories about the people who keep a 100,000-ton promise to be ready, anywhere on Earth, whenever they're needed. Out here, time runs on the watch, not the wall clock. The day breaks in sections: reveille, quarters, flight ops, maintenance, drills, chow, study, sleep, then resets with the click of a sound-powered phone. Qualifications stack like rungs on a ladder: basic, advanced, instructor. A junior sailor learns a valve lineup, then teaches it to the next set of hands. A green shirt masters a checklist, then runs it blindfolded in a drill. The ship breathes through repetition until precision feels like instinct. That is how a city survives when the nearest sidewalk is 1,000 miles away. Every space has its own music. In the bakery, it is the thump of dough and the hiss of steam. In the machine shop, it is the slow, hungry bite of a mill. On the bridge, it is quiet voices trading bearings and ranges while the hull moves like a patient animal. In the plant, it is turbines singing at a pitch you feel in your bones. Below decks, smells change with the work: jet fuel, solvent, hot bread, ozone, salt air, and you learn to read them the way a farmer reads the wind. Familiar notes mean all is well. A strange scent sends the right people hunting until the ship hums true again. Checklists may look cold, but they protect the warmest things: trust and time. Trust grows when your shipmate does the right step at the right second. Time saves lives when a casualty drill runs in minutes instead of hours. That is why critiques are honest and sharp. Nobody hides a miss. Everyone learns from it. After action notes become tomorrow's better plan. And when the unexpected arrives, weather shift, equipment glitch, a line of bearing that tightens too quickly, the team returns to the habits that never fail. Communicate, verify, execute, and back each other up. Mail day is proof that morale rides on small weights: a box of cookies from home, a drawing from a niece, a note that says, "Proud of you." The hangar bay turns into a festival of cardboard and packing tape, and for a moment the ocean shrinks. Then the ship slides back into its rhythm. Tools out, lines rigged, briefs complete, but lighter somehow. Even leaders who measure days in readiness reports know the value of a laugh on a long watch and the medicine of a familiar handwriting in a far place. Energy at sea is more than megawatts. It is how you spend them. Lights that dim to night settings save eyes and power. Vent systems balance comfort with efficiency because dry air preserves electronics and morale. Galleys sequence ovens so heat peaks in waves, not all at once. Shops stage jobs to share loads across breakers and shifts. Conservation here is not a slogan. It is an operational advantage that keeps the ship agile and the crew comfortable enough to think clearly when the tempo spikes. Security is a perimeter you carry in your head. Watches stack around the ship: topside, quarterdeck, armory, magazines, radio, reactor, engineering. Each post has challenges and the same mandate: know your normal, spot the abnormal, act fast, but by the book. Drills sharpen reactions until they are both quick and correct. The best day is the quiet one, where nothing happens, because that means vigilance worked. And on the days when something does happen, the crew's calm looks like luck from the outside and like discipline from within. Even Liberty has a mission. When the ship pulls into port, sailors become ambassadors in clean uniforms and careful steps, enjoying a meal off the mess decks and a walk on streets that do not move. Shore patrol keeps the standards high. Leadership reminds everyone that tomorrow's work begins on time. Ports blur across a deployment, some small, some storied, but each one offers the same gift: a view of the ship from the pier, lines curving tight, flags clean, steel shining. Pride is easier to see from 20 yards away. Back at sea, learning continues. Rate training, warfare pins, college courses after midwatch, simulators that punish sloppy thinking, and chalk talks where a chief draws a whole system from memory, labeling valves and circuits until the picture becomes a map you can walk. The smartest people on board are the ones who still carry a notebook. They know that knowledge is the only gear that weighs nothing and makes every other tool better. There are quiet heroes who will never trend. The yeoman who fixes a travel order so a sailor can meet a child on time. The supply clerk who finds a part nobody could source. The corpsman who notices that a usually loud shipmate has gone quiet and sits down to listen. The junior officer who writes the best brief because lives depend on it. The engineer who color codes a binder, so in a crisis anyone can find the right page with a shaking hand. Leadership here is 1,000 small acts stacked into a ship-shaped miracle. When the deployment ends and home pier rises over the bow, bands play and lines fly. Families find faces in a sea of uniforms. The ship ties up, brow goes down, and the city disassembles in reverse. Planes off, fuel lines secure, tools stowed, ustoi, logs signed. But the habits remain. People stand straighter. Checklists live in their heads. They cook a meal with the same care they brought to a valve lineup. They sleep better knowing they did hard things well. And the ocean, which once seemed endless, becomes a familiar path they could sail again tomorrow because they know how to make a city move. Remember to hit like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Your support means a lot.